The Jadotville siege happened between September 13th to 17th, 1961 only, with 155 Irish soldiers for peacekeeping during the Congo Crisis. They had to surrender as there was no food, water, and enough weapons for them to survive. That's why their bravery didn't come out in the limelight for more than 50 years. Filmmaker Richie Smith tried to show us the actual incident in the movie The Siege in Jadotville and show the heroes the utmost respect. If you want to know more about this movie, stay tuned and watch our full recap. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. This movie starts with a powerful quote where the narrator says, "The sun is like a furnace that either melts you or forges you." Then, in a moving car, Prime Minister of Congo Patrice Lumumba seemed quite anxious when, all of a sudden, explosions started on the road. At that time, his car gets stopped, and some soldiers drag him out of the car aggressively. They locked him up in a room after torturing him as his body was covered in blood. In that room, the general, Moise Tshombe, appears before him. When Lumumba tells him that nothing will be his, no matter how he tries to snatch it, Tshombe kills him with a gun. Dr. Connor, Cruz O'Brien, is an Irish man who heads the Congo division of the UN and talks about Irish soldiers who can be peacekeepers in a conference room. The situation was getting out of hand after the assassination of the Prime Minister, Lumumba. In Ireland, in a pub, Commander Patrick Quinlan and other soldiers are conversing about the upcoming mission and having drinks. They have no idea what kind of situation they will face, as they have never been in war or related incidents. As a preparation for the peacemaking project, all the soldiers assigned to participate in this mission take bacillin shots in the hospital. Before taking off, all the young soldiers bid their family members goodbye and get strong motivation from their Commander Quinlan. In Congo, Tshombe talks to the press about the unnecessity of the Irish soldiers in their country. He doesn't understand their agenda, but he's going to welcome them all happily. In the UN headquarters, Dag Hammarskjöld, the UN Secretary General, assigns Dr. O'Brien to the Congo to finish the peacekeeping mission smoothly and tarnish all kinds of wrongdoings of Tshombe. But here, Tshombe is planning something else. He's seeking assistance against the Irish soldiers from General Charles over the phone. In exchange, all the French mining companies could operate without problems in Congo. Getting happy, General Charles is ready to send 1,000 soldiers to Congo to support Tshombe. The Irish A team has arrived in Jadotville. After observing the whole area, they conclude that the three ways are fully exposed while overlooking the south approach. So, the commander ordered the creation of trenches tomorrow morning so that the opposite could not attack quickly. While digging for trenches, an Irish soldier sees an African soldier spying on them. Sergeant Jack informs the commander that they don't have enough food to feed the soldiers, so they immediately leave the compound for the local shops to get supplies, where the commandant meets a woman, Madame Lafontaine. This lady tells the commander that the locals are unhappy about the Irish team coming to their land. Actually, they were confused. They didn't like it when Lumumba took over as prime minister even though they elected him. Later, the Irish soldiers and the commander go to a pub to drink where the French soldiers are also present. The whole pub becomes silent when they see them. René, the leading man of the French team, proposes that the Irish commander have a drink with him. René asks Patrick what their job is here. The commander respectfully tells René that he came to protect the locals from Tshombe, who stole power from the legitimately elected prime minister. When the commander asks René the same question, he says to protect the interests of the mines. René jokes about the Irish soldiers' ability to do something as they have never been to war. But when the commander pinches them with a Rommel saying they don't like the taste of their own medicine, Rommel was a German general, and the Germans took over France in just 2 weeks. Then, the commander calls his wife in Ireland from a local house in Jadotville. Coincidentally, Madame Lafontaine is the house owner there. After the phone call, the lady talks about his husband, who died here because of the radiation. The atomic bomb that has been exploded in Japan was made with uranium, which was taken from the Congo mine. While returning to the compound, The commander ordered Sergeant Jack to inform General Mackenty about the French miners and their mining operations in Jadotville. While talking to Mackenty, Dr. O'Brien hears all this and tells the sergeant not to think about this unnecessary thing, as it will never happen. The commander can go home even before he can get a suntan from the extreme sun exposure in Congo. But here, Dr. O'Brien orders the UN soldiers to attack the government building in Elizabethville without telling the Irish team anything. In this Morthor operation, he wanted to finish General Chom's misdeeds. But the whole plan got spoiled when the UN General Ashish Raja didn't check about the unarmed citizens in the Radio Katanga building and ordered to throw grenades into the building. This killed almost 30 innocent locals, and O'Brien ordered them to cover up this massacre to avoid any chaos. But Chombe heard the rumors about it and cut off all types of connection with UN General Secretary Dog. And René gets the order to attack the Peacekeeper group. The French soldiers attack them while they're praying, making them entirely unprepared for the attack. But Bill, an Irish sniper, notices them and makes a sound, hitting the church bell with a bullet to warn the soldiers. All the soldiers hurriedly leave the church and their guns and go straight to their positions. During the intense ceasefire, an Irish soldier gets shot in his hip, but the sergeant takes him to a safe place. The Irish soldiers did an extraordinary job, even being unprepared, as the enemy team decreased in numbers. After a powerful shooting, the opposite team leaves, leaving so many dead bodies surrounding the compound. The A team prepares for their next attack, as the opposite team can hit their place anytime. The commander plans the positioning so they no longer face these sudden situations. On the other hand, René plans to increase the number of soldiers and motivates them to crush all the Irish soldiers and win the battle at any cost. But at the Irish compound, the sergeant informs the commandant that they need more ammunition, which is essential for them right now to defeat their enemies. The commander gets a call from General Mackenty, where he gets to know about the attack in Elizabethville and asks for support. But O'Brien snatches the phone from Mackenty and tells the commander that they cannot support them now, as all the reinforcement is getting used for the Elizabethville massacre. The whole A company wrongly suffers for other people's wrong decisions, and they don't even get enough support to continue their battle. Here, O'Brien sees on the TV that Chombe is telling the press about the Elizabethville massacre and making the peacekeepers into aggressors as they attack the innocent, unarmed people. The news makes him very furious, and he orders Desmond to hold a private meeting with Chombe in a neutral place. Back in Jadotville, the Irish soldiers are on guard and ready to ambush. They look through binoculars and detect the enemies coming. They get ready to open fire. But the commander observes that a man in the white suit orders them what to do and what to not. So he tells his sniper, Bill, to go for the man in a white suit. And skilled Bill gets the man in just one shot. After a massive shooting, the enemy party stops the ceasefire. René orders to retreat as he comes near the UN compound, raising a white flag. The commander also takes a white handkerchief and goes to him, where René wants the UN peacekeepers to surrender before them. However, the commander denies the proposal even if they attack them thousands of times. As a soldier, he'll do his best to fight his enemies. This response makes René angry, and he leaves the ground. Sometime later, some jeeps come to the place to take all the dead bodies. However, many soldiers are hiding in the field to fulfill their unknown aims. But an Irish soldier notices those hidden soldiers and screams to tell his team at the exact moment the enemies bombed the UN compound. They continuously destroyed so many of their places, but couldn't hurt the soldiers. The Irish soldiers open fire at them, killing most of the soldiers and destroying their jeeps and ammunition. In the UN headquarters, Secretary General Dog learns about the Katanga radio station, and he doesn't like the idea of Dr. O'Brien hiding the whole situation. But in Congo, Dr. O'Brien and Chombe meet, and Chombe tells him about hearing the rumors about the massacre. But O'Brien denies all of them. However, daydreamer Chombe wants O'Brien to make the whole UN recognize him as the president of Katanga. O'Brien obviously denies this impossible desire. In Jadotville, the commander again contacts Mackenty as he needs reinforcement to carry on the battle. Without enough supply, they won't be able to survive. So, McKenty promises to send the reinforcement as soon as possible, but an explosion occurs while they are on the phone. At the UN conference, the secretary was asked aggressive questions about handling the Katanga situation, but he avoided these questions very cunningly. Then, he planned to leave for Congo to handle the matter directly. In Jadotville, the enemies even poisoned the water, and they have nothing left for them to go on. McKenty informs the commander that even though he sent the reinforcements, the enemies cornered them and didn't give them any chance to bring support to them. The commander gets very frustrated and asks what to do now. Even though they have nothing to carry out the battle, McKenty tells them to defend themselves while continuing the fight. At that time, the enemies attack them again, and Irish soldiers also open fire, doing their best to survive. But sometime later, they retreat as the fighter jets are coming towards them, shooting down missiles. The Irish soldiers try to save themselves, and the commander observes their conditions as they don't even have enough medicine for their wounds. With all these happening, the commander zones out while walking through the compound. At that moment, an enemy sniper shoots him right under his left shoulder. Everyone hurriedly takes him in, and the medic gets the bullet out of his body. They didn't have enough morphine to sanitize the area. Still, he was okay, as it was immediately resolved. On the other hand, the UN secretary is on his way to Congo while talking to O'Brien on the phone while on the plane. They are arguing about the Katanga situation when a suspicious plan gets in their way, and O'Brien suddenly can't talk with him anymore. In Jadotville, a UN medic helicopter is coming towards the compound, but an enemy jet is continuously shooting at it. The Irish soldiers, along with the commander, also shot at the plane repeatedly so that the helicopter could land adequately. Being an idiotic and cowardly guy, O'Brien tells McKenty to abandon the Irish team as he doesn't want to be responsible for anything if the Katanga situation leads to war. But Desmond enters to say to him that the UN Secretary General died in a plane crash while coming to Congo, making O'Brien shocked about the whole incident. In Jadotville, even though the helicopter landed to take the wounded soldiers, they were crushed by the enemy's shooting, leaving all the sick soldiers on the ground. The other soldiers immediately take them elsewhere so they no longer get hurt. The commander ordered repeatedly to connect with McKenty over the phone, but he never picks up. In the meantime, the enemies attack again. Seeing that, the commander orders soldiers to gather all the shells of the bullets and set all the explosive devices before enemies come very near to them. Being ready, when the enemies come closer to them, the commander orders to activate the bomb, which explodes massively, killing so many enemies all at once. As they don't have any bullets anymore, they grab the dead soldiers' guns to fight. But the enemy soldiers' numbers are too high, coming from nowhere repeatedly. But still, they fight back. The enemies bomb the place, throw missiles at them, and shoot at them continuously. But suddenly, everything stops and the Irish soldiers get confused. The commandant goes near the enemies and meets Rene again, who is holding a gun towards him. The commander finally surrenders and shakes Rene's hand to finish the battle. But coming back to the soldiers, he asks them if they should surrender. The soldiers don't want to surrender, which makes the commandant feel proud. Later, the Irish soldiers are held captive in Katanga prison for almost a month. They thought they would be killed, but they were sent back to Ireland. They land in Ireland, and McKenty tells him all their hard work will be hidden from the public as they surrender cowardly. The commander punches him hard and he gets furious and leaves, but the whole team salutes him for his unbelievable leadership and praiseworthy bravery. Finally, he goes back to his wife, his safe space, as she is patiently waiting for him. The Irish soldiers remained unbeatable despite lacking the resources to continue vigorously. But the most fantastic part is that not a single soldier died in the 5-day siege fire. They fought fearlessly. We all have respect for these soldiers from the core of our hearts.